Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining our webcast today. I'm Chris Wen, the Market Development Manager for Asia Pacific at TESTEX, a testing and certification company based in Switzerland. We TESTEX as a founding member of OEKO-TEX Association. We are also the official representatives in many key sourcing countries like China, Hong Kong, where I'm based, Indonesia, Korea, and many more. We would like to kickstart with the video proudly brought to you by OEKO-TEX and TESTEX. Let us hear the voices from the perspective of consumers on what they want to find from their beloved fashion. Here you go. Thanks, Jenny.
Dear fashion, I love you, but we need to talk. I love you because you make me feel special, wanted, and proud of myself. So far, I have enjoyed each and every moment we have spent together. Now, things are changing, and I find it hard to keep my faith in you. I still love you, but as our planet is facing climate change, I am facing a change of heart. Your industry is one of the most polluting in the world, and the numbers are increasing. Now, don't tell me you do this because that's just what consumers want. I am a consumer, and I'm telling you what I want. Firstly, I want to know that my clothes aren't doing any harm to me or the environment. And secondly, that the people who are making them are working in fair conditions. I fear the moment when I'll have to face my kids and tell them the details about fast fashion. Please think about it. Stand up for our planet. Make smart decisions. Join OEKO-TEX.
That's great. Thanks, Jenny. Jenny is our market development from our marketing department, and she is helping us for everything at the backstage. So thanks, Jenny. And because this is a live webinar, so bear with us for any IT issues. And just go back to the video. The video is short but inspirational and serves as the foundation of our discussion today. I'm really happy to be here today with our guest speakers. They are from the chemical industry. Mr. Zhang Wu, Sustainability Regional Project Manager from BASF, Performance Material Asia Pacific, and Helen Parry, Managing Director from MagnaColours. And we are also very excited to have Lydia Lin, the East Asia Director of ZDHC Foundation. And last but not least, representatives from OEKO-TEX and TESTEX. Jonathan, the Eco-Passport Product Manager at OEKO-TEX Association, and Mary Rose, and also the Eco-Passport Product Manager at TESTEX. Today, I'm talking to our panel of experts all about the foundation of a sustainable future in the fields of textile and other industry, that is chemical. We use chemicals in our daily life. Not surprisingly, they are also the essential components in making and washing garments, from growing raw materials like cotton to processes like dyeing and finishing. The fashion industry is a highly polluting industry. Experts estimate that over 8,000 chemicals are used by the textile and footwear industry. However, there isn't enough transparency about what chemicals are being used in producing the garments. It forms the basis of discussion today with our industry experts. So what is the foundation for a sustainable production and how to ensure safe products? To ensure we understand the background of our speakers, each of them would have like 5 minutes to introduce themselves and their companies. And then we would dive into our discussion. And we'll also have like a Q&A section with the questions submitted by our audience if time allows. It's all you watching to our webinar to have your participation. As usual, all audience will be muted to enable our speakers to present without interruption, but we welcome your questions. Please submit your questions on the question chat box anytime during the webinar, and we will collate the questions to address them during the Q&A section. If we're not able to answer all the questions, we will forward your questions to the corresponding speakers to let them contact you for the answers directly. If you want to get a copy of the presentation deck of today, please don't forget to complete our survey form and provide us with your feedbacks at the end of the webinar to help us make our program better. And this webinar is being recorded and will be sent to all registrants next Monday. So, John Wu, so shall we begin with you to first start your 5-minute introduction, and then all other speakers please follow. Jenny, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Wu Zhang from BASF Performance Material Asia Pacific. So just to people who might not have known, BASF is one of the leading chemical companies in the world, headquartered in Germany. And within our performance material division, our main product portfolio include mainly engineering plastics and polyurethane systems, as well as TPU materials. So yeah, my honor to be here today and share some of our reflections and latest initiatives related to sustainability and third-party certification schemes in particular. So if we start from a big picture, as we are all aware, we are actually enjoying our modern life in some extent on the sacrifice of our environment and our planet. But I think luckily in recent years, sustainable awareness and actions are developing more and more to become the driver of our time, and sustainability becomes the mega trend, a mega trend that goes across actually different industries and affects all areas of our everyday life. It influences our purchasing decision as a person, corporate strategy in a company, social values, all works in our daily life actually. So sustainability is also important to BASF as well, and we are working on a lot of things, but as a chemical company, what BASF is doing sometimes is not visible by itself to our customers, and also not intuitive to our end consumers to understand and perceive. Our customers might not realize, for example, that our effort in enhancing our production efficiency, which at the end will reduce the carbon emission and contribute to mitigate the global warming effect. And consumers might not understand what solvent-free synthetic leather means, and whether it's safe to use such material in their cars and shoes. And this is the area where we believe third-party certification schemes in general, including OEKO-TEX, would play an important role. If we move to the next slide, I'd like to highlight a project where BASF worked together with OEKO-TEX last year to get 2 TESTEX products of BASF certified as eco-passport. This is our first completely solvent-free 2-component PU solution for synthetic leather. And during a multi-stage process, OEKO-TEX analyzed whether each ingredient in the chemical production meets the international regulation requirements and make sure that it's not harmful to human health. And they've also done the on-site inspection to validate the claims that BASF is using safer and better chemistry according to the best practice in the industry. So with this third-party certification, our products are proven to conform to the ZDHC sustainability standard, which in turn helps us to open the door for BASF to join the ZDHC Foundation. So we believe it's a value of the independent certification scheme to make sustainability visible for everyone with fair evaluation and authority. The next slide is another example from us where third-party certification plays an important role. So in this case, BASF has we have developed the biomass balance approach, which is a groundbreaking approach where we use renewable feedstock at the very beginning of our chemical production to replace conventional fossil feedstock. And then this renewable and fossil feedstock are mixed and go through exactly the same production steps and made into the final sales product at downstream. And by doing so, we contribute to reduce the fossil resource consumption and reduce the product carbon footprint, while at the same time maintaining the identical material properties. And in this approach, as you can see, because the feedstock is mixed right from the start, so intrinsically, it's impossible to separate and trace the renewable content in the final product. Here the biomass balance is another example where, if we go to next slide, by bringing third-party independent certification scheme to verify the integrity and identity of input material in the final products, and to ensure the accuracy of the content claims. So we create a transparency and make the whole approach credible to our customers and end users. And at the same time, help BASF better communicate and promote our sustainable solutions. All in all, I just want to take this as an example to stress the importance of third-party independent certification schemes in our pathway towards sustainability. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Zhang. And let's have Helen from MagnaColours.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, Helen, we hear you well.
Good. So thank you for inviting me to speak on this very important topic. So I will just, for the benefit of those people who aren't familiar with MagnaColours, I just have a few short slides and a video just to give you a feel for who we are as a company and what our values are. Next slide, please, Jenny. So we're over 40 years old. We've been in this industry, water-based screen printing, for many, many years, and we consider ourselves a world leader. Headquartered in UK, we have a real sense of the way we work. We collaborate with the brands and the retailers, and we work with the printers down on the ground to execute the products to the right quality. So innovation is very much a part of what we do. We listen to what the brands need, and then we develop solutions to solve problems in the field, with a very, very tight focus on the compliance and the chemical compliance in the inks. And I will talk a lot more about that today. Global presence, so we have a distribution network covering over 40 countries, and we manufacture, as I said, across 2 sites in the UK and India for the local market. Chemical compliance, really focusing on water-based systems, it's at the heart of everything that we do. And we'll talk a little bit more about this, but bio-derived materials is certainly a big focus for us right now, moving towards much more sustainable solutions. So if we can just show you a short video, it will put into action everything that I'm saying here.
Come with me, come with me, come with me. Come with me, come with me, come with me, come with me. The things you do
Oh, I really like the upbeat music and the colorful video.
Glad you like it. So these are just some of the customers that we work with. As I say, we listen to the brands and retailers. What are their future needs? And then we take it back to the lab and work with the printers to develop the solutions. Next slide, please, Jenny. Just some of the things that our customers say about us. You know, we really are considered not just an ink supplier, but more of a, you know, strategic partner. You know, we really help and educate the printers and people in the industry to how they can strive to develop, you know, better sustainable products as well. And yeah, it's always nice, you know, to hear rather than me saying, you know, this is what the customers say. Next slide, please. So just to summarize what our product range is. So we have screen printing bases, and that ranges from high, medium, low solids, anti-dye migration bases for your polyester fabrics, and then digital hybrid inks, which are the new systems combining screen printing with digital heads to give some element of personalization. Then you have the traditional printing bases. We have a new low odor version. We have low formaldehyde versions, and obviously the corresponding activators. Very broad range of special effects. And then a water-based eco pigment range. And then more recently, in the last year, we've launched a range of water-based heat transfers. So just another way of transferring ink and onto the fabrics and embellishing them. Next slide, please. And just to reiterate what I'm saying about compliance, we use OEKO-TEX, the Eco Passport system, for the vast majority of what we do. We work with a third-party TESTEX here, and in this recent round of testing, we have all of our core MagnaPrint products, so that's 36 bases and 13 of the pigments registered with the Eco Passport certification. And with the new range of MagnaTrans products, we have another 7. So, you know, 56, a total 56 products. I think we really do lead the industry, certainly for screen printing, in the amount of testing that we do to provide the transparency that the brands need. And we didn't let the pandemic stop our goals. So this year, with the help of TESTEX, we were able to do a virtual audit in November last year, where they were able to you know, look at our site through video, ask all the necessary questions, and we were delighted to be awarded confidence level 3 in the ZDHC gateway for all of those products that I mentioned. So we're very, very proud to be really sort of leading the way with this compliance area. And then we have, you know, we do some GOTS and other certifications depending on what specifically the brands need. But for us, all of this chemical compliance and the testing gives peace of mind to the brands and retailers that actually, when you're using a MagnaPrint product, you know, you're ticking all of the boxes for your RSLs and chemical compliance side. Okay, I think that was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, for your introduction. So now shall we have Lydia from ZDHC for your brief introduction?
Thanks, Chris. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lydia, ZDHC is the Asia Director. So first of all, thanks for TESTEX for inviting me to join this webinar and join the discussion. So first, let me introduce who we are. ZDHC first started in 2011. There were 6 founding brands. They are Adidas, CNA, H&M, Li-Ning, Nike, and Puma. They released the joint roadmap and commit to lead the apparel and footwear industry towards zero discharge of hazardous chemicals. After that, we get more and more organizations join us in order to move towards the goal of clean water, clean air, safe workers, and safe products. As of today, we have 160 contributors, and the TESTEX is one of them as well. Most importantly, ZDHC has evolved from a brand-driven collaboration into a multi-stakeholder collaboration. Next slide, please. And what do we do? Next slide, please. So our mission is to enable brands and retailers to implement sustainable chemical management best practice across the value chain. Through collaborative engagement and implementation, we will advance towards zero discharge of hazardous chemicals. Our vision is widespread implementation of sustainable chemistry, driven innovations and best practices in textile, apparel, and footwear industries to protect the consumers, workers, and the environment. And how we can achieve that? Next slide, please. So for the ZDHC Roadmap to Zero, it actually is a holistic program that covers key aspects of sustainable chemical management. This includes input control, process control, and output control. There are guidelines, platforms, and solutions available to support each aspect of this sustainable chemical management program. For input control, we have ZDHC MRSL and the conformance guidance, so the industry knows what kind of hazardous chemicals cannot be intentionally used in manufacturing. We have ZDHC Gateway. It is a tool to implement ZDHC MRSL. It's a safer chemistry database, or we call it safer chemistry shopping list. It helps suppliers to search for chemical products that are compliant with the ZDHC MRSL. For chemical producers, they can upload their ZDHC MRSL compliance products into ZDHC Gateway and download ZDHC chemistry report to demonstrate their products are conformant to the ZDHC MRSL. Wet processing mills like a dye house or printing house, they can get a ZDHC in-check report to demonstrate their ZDHC MRSL implementation performance. Next slide, please. So for process control, ZDHC released How to ZDHC Guide. The ZDHC Chemical Management System, which includes the ZDHC Chemical Management System Framework and the ZDHC Chemical Management System Technical Industry Guide, which can support the facility to establish or enhance their on-site chemical management system. Last year, ZDHC launched ZDHC Supply to Zero program platform. It's a tool, or we call it a solution, to support the supply chain to improve their chemical management system. Next slide, please. For output control, ZDHC have, the former one, yes, output control. For output control, ZDHC have ZDHC wastewater guidelines. The ZDHC Gateway wastewater module is the tool to implement ZDHC wastewater guidelines. Wet processing mills can have their wastewater tested against the ZDHC wastewater guidelines and upload the test report in ZDHC Gateway and then download the ClearStream report to show their output control performance to their customers. So we hope with our joint efforts, we can have cleaner water, cleaner air for all of us and also for our next generations. So that's my brief introduction. Thanks.
Thanks, Lydia. So shall we have Jonathan and Mary Rose for your brief introductions on EcoPassport certification scheme? Yeah, I'm sure, Jonathan, you have to unmute yourself.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Good,
please.
great. So I am the product manager for EcoPassport at OEKO-TEX, and today I kind of want to talk about who we are, what we do, and why we do it. So next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Hold on 1 second. Can you please just quickly move on? I'll try and get it to work. Stuck, sorry.
Okay, no worries. So most of you already probably know about OEKO-TEX, but I go a little bit more into depth here. Basically, what we at OEKO-TEX do is we certify products and facilities along the whole textile value chain. So we control the input chemical, the process in the factory, and the output in the textile. What this means is that we screen and test chemicals that go into the textile industry, as well as the textiles and leathers themselves. We use laboratory analysis to see if there are any substances that could be dangerous for humans or the environment. And at the same time, we audit the production sites themselves to see if worker safety is assured. If the water or the air emissions are okay, and if there are potentially dangerous chemicals for the environment that are being properly stored. Oh, great, there it is. But we can already go to the next slide. So that you might get a little bit of a better grasp on OEKO-TEX and what our global reach is, here are some numbers that might put some things into perspective. So we work together with TESTEX and 17 other institutes that are each fitted with state-of-the-art analytical labs where all of the testing is conducted. And with their help, we have been able to work with 21,000 different companies in 70 different countries, totaling over 230,000 certificates issued. Next slide, please. So, but why do we do this? Why do we have this certification business? And why do we believe in certification, and by that extension, regulation? Why is it necessary? And what are the challenges of the industry? So the textile industry in itself is one of the biggest industries worldwide, and the supply chain is also quite extensive. It is really difficult to know exactly what is in the end product, and that's made even more difficult to track by the sheer amount of chemicals that are used regularly, which are around 4,000 to 8,000. To break through this confusion, we believe it's absolutely necessary to have the chemicals and products screened and tested in our labs. That way, we can make sure that there are no dangerous chemicals that end up in the textile, and more importantly, that they don't end up on your skin or in the environment. Another big challenge here is, for example, the massive amounts of water that are being used and discharged, and through that, all of the chemicals that end up in lakes and rivers because of this. So most of you probably know about how one pair of blue jeans require around 8,000 liters of water for its production. And yes, this is because of cotton, because it's a very thirsty plant, but also another step where a lot of water is used is the dyeing process. And this is a step where a lot of hazardous chemicals can get into open water. And what we want to do is we want to be able to minimize the wastewater emission, first of all, by checking the production facilities themselves and see that they have everything up to standard with their wastewater emission. But we also want to have better chemicals that just go into the products, because in the end, the input defines the output. So if you have cleaner input, it is easier to have less and safer waste. Next slide, please. So back again to this picture that we weren't really able to see a lot of before. Here you can see which of our certifications go together with which step across the textile value chain. So I'll start at the end of the textile value chain with our standard 100 certification, which is probably our most famous one, and the leather standard. They look at the end products, and they look at the textiles that are being manufactured and see if there are any restricted chemicals in there. Then we go back a bit to the STEP and Detox to Zero certification. They audit the facilities themselves. And if you have STEP as well as Standard 100 or Leather Standard, you get our Made in Green label. And if we go a little bit back as well, more back, we got to the Eco-Passport certification, which is what I want to be talking about more today, together with Mary Rose. Next slide, please. So the Eco-Passport is a comprehensive system for the review and certification of chemicals, dyes, and auxiliaries used in the textile and leather industry. Because better and safer chemicals put into the supply chain help yield quality products with less environmental impact and which are safer for human use. And additionally, using better and safer chemicals also helps with the safety of the workers in the factories handling those chemicals during the textile production. Next slide, please. So if we look one step closer at the Eco-Passport, it has basically 4 main purposes. First, we want to screen and test chemicals so we can approve those that are safe. Second, we want to eliminate or at least limit the use of dangerous or harmful chemicals. Then we want to help manufacturers and brands to be able to meet global chemical regulations through our certification. And just generally, all in all, we hope that all of this leads to the production and use of safer products across the whole textile industry. But now that I've talked about the theoretical part, I'm going to give over to the meat and potatoes of how the Eco-Passport actually works and give over to Mary Rose from TESTEX.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jonathan, for that quick overview. So yes, taking over from here, I would just like to show you how the certification process works. We have several steps for them. So it begins actually with the applicant declaring to us their formulation or the products that they would like to have certified according to Eco-Passport. So applicants have the possibility to disclose the components of their products according to 3 varying degrees. So it can be a minimal, partial, or full disclosure. So when we receive the CAS numbers of all those ingredients that are being used, we run them as the first step against our restricted substances list. And yes, so there we would see if some substances are prohibited or restricted. And if they pass, then all of those products that have ingredients having passed the RSL screening, they will pass through the analytical verification. So the scope of testing under this analytical verification really depends on the product category and also all the information that we receive from the applicant. And the third step is an optional one, so the self-assessment and on-site visit. So here, the self-assessment really involves the declaration of an applicant and how they tackle the safety, health, and environmental issues in their business. So there we see all of their measures that they take to comply with that. And then the on-site visit really is to see if all of those measures are really in place and if they are kept and maintained. Yeah. And the fourth step is really the issuance of the certificate, which is valid for 1 year, together with the test report. So I should say, for the self-assessment and on-site visit, because of the pandemic, we were not able to really travel and really visit the sites. So we have made a concept, to how we can carry out the virtual audit. Yes, so next slide, please. Here, I would like just to show you, what are the steps or how our Eco-Passport certification system translates to the ZDHC conformance level. So fulfilling the first 2 mandatory steps, which are the screening of the CAS numbers plus the analytical testing, the company gets ZDHC conformance level 1. And then for ZDHC level conformance level 2, a self-assessment should be fulfilled. So, and the third one, on top of all those 3 steps, an on-site visit, if all of those steps are fulfilled, so the cast number screening, the analytical verification, the self-assessment, and the on-site visit, then the company gets a ZDHC conformance level 3. Yes, next slide. Yes, and this is just to give our audience a concrete example of how does it really, what does it mean to have an EcoPassport certified chemicals. Jonathan has mentioned a lot of benefits and also the purpose of EcoPassport, but this is just one of the benefits I would like to highlight. Example would be a printed care label made of polyester tape in white, printed in black. So this is a typical article typical article description that you would find in SANA 100 certification. And to make everything simple, for the sake of simplicity, I have taken an example where the tape, in this case the white tape made of polyester, is already OEKO-TEX certified according to SANA 100. And as opposed to having just the tape certified according to SANA 100, using an EcoPassport certified chemical, in this case the black ink or black pigment. So a price reduction on testing costs of up to 70% can be realized. So there are some conditions to fulfill here. So one being there are no other chemicals being used aside from the black ink certified according to EcoPassport, and there are no other wet process involved or other manufacturing process involved that would really make us test for those conditions. So when these 2 conditions are fulfilled, then really we can reduce the costs of up to 70%. So at this point, I would like to really encourage all of our audience to really make sure and watch out and make sure that you are using EcoPassport certified chemicals, because there's a really good benefit to be had out of it. So that was actually the last slide from my side. Yeah, I would like to give over to Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. So now we're going to dive into our discussion. So to echo what the video told us about, consumers really want transparency. Consumers really want to know what if their clothes are really toxic or harmful. So we understand that getting full disclosure from the supply chain could be hard since there are different factors and complexity. But we want to know how the chemical sector is responding to this rising demand for the chemical transparency. So the question is for Zhang from BASF and also Helen from Magna. What can you do to support the fashion industry to be more transparent?
Yeah, so I think with the increasing public awareness of sustainability, it's natural that our customers and consumers would like to know more about the goods they're consuming and using, and their impact to themselves and the environment. So to create such transparency, we may of course run some testing programs providing proven facts and figures, which in most cases could be sufficient for professionals with technical capability to make a sensible selection decision. For example, with a VOC text report, people get to know what and how much VOC is generated from specific test sample. So they decide which material to choose for which application. And on the other hand, however, I think certification also helps to provide credibility and confidence to stakeholders who might not be equipped with such technical background to read test data. So third-party certification in this sense is based on this facts and figures, while at the same time providing the endorsement given by the authority and reputation of the certification scheme. And through certification, sustainability is more visible and understandable to everyone. Yeah. So, for example, for people who do not really know what VOC is, they when they see EcoPassport logo, they can already tell the material used to make their shoes or in their cars are trustable.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Helen?
Yeah, I mean, consumers are becoming much more savvy about the garments and the products that they're buying, and being much more demanding about wanting more sustainable products. And yeah, I think there's a lot more transparency that can be done in the industry. You look at the trends now. You know, Nike launched a they're starting to introduce bio-derived dyes into their footwear, and that's a kind of a limited edition shoe, and it just sells straight away. It's starting to educate consumers about what is actually possible from a chemical perspective, and then starting to demand that even more. And the chemical manufacturers and the chemical companies, such as ourselves, we need to rise to that challenge of, yes, we've seen a shift towards water-based solutions, but we can't stop there. There are still chemicals in the product, so we have to think creatively about how can we make these chemistries more sustainable, bio-derived materials, more durable, biodegradable solutions is definitely going to be the future. And the more testing, the more transparency that we can share with the brands and retailers, to ultimately then share with the consumers as to what is actually possible. I think this is the direction of travel now, and it needs to be the focus of the chemical manufacturers to think creatively about how we can look for more sustainable solutions. So yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I also think that many fashion designers started to use the raw materials that could be potentially bioengineered, that could be made from living microorganisms. So the same for dyestuffs and other chemical formulations. We really need the combination of science, technology, and also design to create clothing like made from safe and renewable materials. So I also agree with Zhang say that certification of chemicals provides confidence and also assurance to downstream users. So in this way, textile manufacturers using chemicals would not be left on their own with the burden they have to identify, and also they have to manage the potential hazards when dealing with the chemicals in their production. So comes to this next question, also for Zhang and also Helen. So you both company have successfully achieved the EcoPassport certifications on your products and achieved the highest level 3, ZDHC MRSO conformance level 3. So as we know, there are many possible schemes out there to evaluate the conformance level. I wonder why you chose EcoPassport by OEKO-TEX. So maybe Zhang, you first.
Okay. OEKO-TEX was actually recommended to us by ZDHC because of its wide recognition and reputation within the textile industry. And to us, carrying its logo is actually a stamp of guarantee to our customers and end users that our products have adhere to the sustainability standards. And by getting our product certified, we maintain our competitive advantage of staying ahead of the regulatory curves, and we are able to differentiate ourselves from competition in this particular industry. The EcoPassport certificate actually perfectly aligns with our long-term sustainability goals, and we see EcoPassport certification as an endorsement of what we are doing in developing sustainable material solutions. And for sure, it also helps us to better communicate with our direct customers and end users, creating the transparency and making sustainability visible.
Yeah. Helen, do you have anything to add?
only really that, we're obviously dealing with a very broad range of brands and retailers, and Eco Passport for us is the most widely accepted in the industry. So, it was a bit of a no-brainer for us, and dare I say, it's more affordable than different systems out there. And when you're looking at a company like us who are registering so many products, we want to give maximum value to customers and the transparency. And this is an ideal solution for us. And as John said, it just gives that warranty, that guarantee, and that badge of confidence to our customers.
Yeah, it's really interesting to know how customers from you both perceive the value of Eco Passport and how Eco Passport certification scheme help your companies in communicating the progress and success in driving sustainable chemistry. So as we know, last year, this unprecedented situation posed a great challenge with restricted traveling and country lockdown. So what were the major challenges in getting your product certified with Eco Passport? And how did your company overcome all those challenges? So what about Helen first?
I think I mentioned in my introduction, we have been doing level 1 for a few years now, and we felt we wanted to take the next step to level 2. So the way that we generally operate is that we do an annual testing regime. So we pick a number of products that we believe are going to be commercialized or going to be sold in that next year. And we try to keep it and do a batch at a time. There are occasions where something new is developed and introduced, and we need to do something in the meantime. So the actual regular testing hasn't really changed for us. We're able to, continue to send it by courier and so on, all the samples. But as I say, the big change was getting the level 3 certification. So, TESTEX were really great in being creative with how we can move forward and not spend a year, wasted, if you like, with the pandemic. So we were able to conduct a virtual audit, and they were able to access all areas of the business that they needed, and that was the biggest challenge that we had this year. And we were delighted that we could think creatively between us and still achieve the objectives from both sides.
Yes, thank you. So what about Zhang from BASF?
Yeah, from our side, the biggest challenge was actually the time, like you mentioned, the time when we decided to do this. Yeah, it was last year, and due to the COVID-19 situation, all the lockdowns and the restrictions to travel actually slowed down the process. But yeah, thanks to the close communication through virtual meetings and also follow-ups between our product management team together with TESTEX, we managed to go through the process in the best possible time frame. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. Other than that, it's actually quite straightforward, I would say.
Yeah, thanks for the sharing. It's true that many people work from home to help prevent the spread of coronavirus last year, and there are no exceptions to our auditors, because in some occasions we have no choice as restricted measures imposed by the government in different countries. And I think it's likely to continue for some time. Virtual audits will need to become like at least temporarily, it's the new normal for everybody, for all the industries. Okay, so the next question I would like to ask about Mary Rose. About your presentation, you mentioned a very interesting idea about the price reduction. Could you please elaborate a little bit on that point? Because I'm sure many customers would like to know anything they can do to reduce the price. Does it mean that if a garment manufacturer uses Eco Passport certified chemicals for production, the testing on garment would be reduced? Could you please just elaborate a little bit? Oh, sorry, Mary Rose, you have to unmute yourself. Great.
Yes, So let's say that again. So yes, so we have to look at the whole manufacturing process. So ideally, all of those chemicals are EcoPassport certified, and because it guarantees that there is no harmful substances in the first place. So there is really a benefit to reduce the cost of the end of the pipe control, as we say. And so in the case of a garment article, so if there, it depends really on the process. If there are no other chemicals used and there are no other processes involved in the production of the garments, so we really can reduce the testing costs. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. That means that textile manufacturers would benefit from testing cost reduction by using EcoPassport certified chemicals, right?
Exactly.
So
yes.
I think it's good to know there is a connection between the two certification programs, EcoPassport and the Standard 100 for textile articles. So I think it would also be applicable for the leather standard. Am I correct?
Yes, it's the same principle applies. So
yeah, I think it's smart approach for always asking the upstream suppliers if the raw materials were treated with EcoPassport certified chemicals. Okay, so the next question will be for Jonathan. As we know, chemical formulations that are EcoPassport certified are eligible to be listed on the ZDHC gateway, chemical module, and also the OEKO-TEX buying guide. So it's a great advantage for the chemical manufacturers because they have their great products there, and there are a platform out there for advertising their certified products to make sure these products are easily identified by the apparel and footwear manufacturers for their production. So I was asked by many customers about the procedures many times. Is it an automated process? And how does it work? Can you explain a little bit?
Well, yes, sure. So for the gateway, that process is not fully automated. The customer who has a valid EcoPassport can register themselves on the ZDHC gateway, and with all of their certified products, their products can receive a chem check, I believe, and they can be viewed by others as confirmation that they conform to the ZDHC MRSL level 2. Lydia already went into more details before with her presentation and explained it probably much better than I ever could. But what we do at OEKO-TEX is we monitor the entries into the gateway on a weekly basis. So we compare the entered data to our own data that we have from the manufacturers, and that way we can see if that data is correct and genuine, and then we are able to validate it into the system, at the gateway system. But the automated process would be our own buying guide. So a customer that has a certified EcoPassport, as soon as it's valid, all the data goes into the buying guide, and there the company and all valid products can be viewed by pretty much everyone with a functioning internet connection. We also have a working relationship with GoBlue and their Beehive app. That's a chemical database app. It's great for chemical manufacturers, for those who want to use it. And every month they receive a list of valid products coming from us that are fed into their app. And we believe that the visibility on all three platforms is a great benefit for any company that is using the EcoPassport. And if we have time, I can quickly also quickly introduce the buying guide and also our label check. Do you think we have time for that, or?
Well, I think we only have like 5 minutes left. So if you don't mind, maybe I would jump to another question.
Of course.
Because I want to ask a question for Lydia. Yeah, hi Lydia. I would say ZDHC have made positive impact and significant improvement to the apparel industry, successfully transformed the industry by creating like a system approach for input chemical management back to like 2011. And at that time, ZDHC began just with a collaboration of 6 fashion brands, and now I think there are over 160 contributors covering different stakeholders in the industry. So I wonder, do they all commit to the same goals and implementing the same tools ZDHC have developed so far? And what would you do to increase the adoption rate? Lydia, please.
Yes, for ZDHC contributors, they all confirm to endorse ZDHC Roadmap to Zero program by signing a commitment letter when they join ZDHC as contributor. We launched our leader programs such as Signatory Brand Leader Program, Facility Leader Program. This will guide the industry to jointly implement our chemical management framework, ZDHC guidelines and tools, and move towards the same goal. So as you might already see that the ZDHC guidelines and tools are adopted by not only ZDHC contributors and their supply chain, but also non-ZDHC contributors. For example, friends of ZDHC, we now have 9 brands joined us as friends of ZDHC who committed to endorse ZDHC program and use ZDHC tools as well. Many other stakeholders are collaborating with ZDHC by adopting ZDHC guidelines and the tools as well. So, for example, the working group set the ZDHC MRSL as the minimum recognized MRSL in their newly launched Protocol 7.0 chemical management module and introduced the ZDHC gateway as a route to provide evidence of ZDHC compliance. And last but not least, we are working with local authorities and associations to endorse ZDHC standards and guidelines. And for example, in China, ZDHC MRSL has been adopted in China's synthetic leather industry in 2019 and successfully convergence with China textile industry in 2020.
Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing. And because time is up, and I would like to wrap up our Q&A section by asking the last question to John from BASF, also Helen from MagnaColours. Do you have quick steps to share with all our chemical manufacturers who would like to start the Eco Passport certification? Helen, do you have any hints?
Yep. I think it's understanding what the RSL, what your customers' restricted substances lists are, and making an assessment with your own products, and start with your simple products that you have a high confidence that they're going to pass, and just little steps. Just start to build your certification of your product range. The process of testing is very, very simple. It's very straightforward. Then I would say, yeah, just start to think about, when you're product developing as well, think about your chemical compliance at that stage, and then you don't have to go back and revisit and reformulate any products. But start with your simple formulations and go from there, is what I would say.
Great. So what about John? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would say the decision to put on efforts on certification in the first place is already halfway towards success, because certification is a process and really needs efforts and coordination from all parties. But at the end, all the effort will pay off. Secondly, choosing the right certification scheme and partner is also important. So go for those who are widely recognized in your target value chain and market. Last but not the least, like Helen said, really embed the sustainability thinking in your business operation, right from the research and development to production, making sure that we are doing the right thing and doing things right. So yeah, other than that, the certification process is quite straightforward, and there's no really any shortcut. Just rely on and work with your certification body, prove what you have done with facts and figures. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Just rely on OEKO-TEX and TESTEX. Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much for all your sharing today. We believe that the knowledge you've shared will help immensely in the development of a sustainable fashion industry. So once again, thanks everybody for joining us today in this 1 hour. TESTEX and OEKO-TEX would host more online events that will take place throughout the year. So stay tuned to our post on LinkedIn and social media platform for more exciting upcoming events. So see you next time. We wish you good health and all the best. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.